Today was a very exhausting day at work. There was a lot of things that I had to do, and by the end of it, I was flat out dead. And the worst thing was I still had so many things on my mind. There was still so many things I had to do, and it just felt like a never-ending cycle. And so I wasn't in the best mood. But I had no choice. I just closed my laptop down, went to have dinner with my family. So went to the dinner table, and I was eating my food, and my dad was watching the news on the side. And the news of the war between Ukraine and Russia popped up. And they were talking about how devastating it was. And we were talking about a stat that we just heard, which is that 700,000 young men died in that war. And we couldn't even conceptualize like how big that number was. We just did some like thought experiments and some like calculations, and the amount of 18-year-olds in Australia would only be around like that number. And so to have that many die, that's essentially like an entire year of people being incinerated. And we were just talking about how tragic it was that all these young men were being sent off to war against their own will. And just out of nowhere, my dad was like, if that happened in Australia, I would take your place and go to war. And the thing is, my dad is not the type to be like sentimental or be emotional. You know, like Asian parents are typically like quite closed off and express their love and affection in like different ways. But this was when he said that, my heart literally melted. I was like, I did not know if it was real or not. And it genuinely felt like something that would be in my dreams or something that I would envision, but not something to actually happen in real life. So when he said it, I genuinely felt so like grateful for them. And yeah, there's just like many feelings running through my head at that stage, because it was the first time I've ever encountered like my dad saying something like that. And it felt weird, but I felt grateful at the same time. I was like, I'm so grateful, so appreciative. But honestly, the feeling was quite weird. And obviously when I say that, I mean that in a good way. And we did like talk it out. But what that made me realize is that I just need to be more grateful for the things that I have. And when he mentioned that, and I linked that to the fact that all these young men are dying, and here my parents are saying that they're willing to almost sacrifice themselves for me, it just made me realize how like grateful I should be for the support network around me. And compared to the small trivial things at work, even if my work isn't going the best, even if, you know, there's a lot of things that I have to do, at least I'm still safe. You know, knock on wood, there's a roof over my head, there's food, I have a supporting family. And I've realized that that was all I needed to gain that extra motivation to continue pushing on, because I know that regardless of how hard work gets or how hard life gets, there's always going to be a worser case scenario. But as long as I have the right people and the right support networks, then it's all going to be very manageable. So I just want to share that lesson and that story with you, because I think it just reminded me to kind of just zoom out and see the big picture. So that's why I'm very grateful for this experience.